Hello, good day everyone. I am Angel Di Viola and now I'm going to discuss measure of central tendency. To be specific, I'm going to discuss the mean, median, and mode of a group data. So the first one that we have to do is to complete the table. So CM stands for class mark. We can solve the class mark by just simply adding the upper interval and the lower interval of our data and dividing it into 2. So here in our example, the upper interval is the 15 and we're going to add it in the lower interval, which is 11, and dividing it into 2. So if we add 15 plus 11, it will be 26. And we're going to divide it into 2. According to the pure formula, we're going to divide it into 2. So 26 divided 2 will be 13. Our class mark for our first class interval data is 13. So we're going to put there at 13. So we can solve the other class mark of our class interval by just using the same formula. We can add the upper interval plus lower interval and we can divide 2. So 20 plus 16, if we divide it into 2, it will be 18, and then 25 plus 21 and divide it into 2, and so on so forth. Our next column will be fx times m, or we can just simply call it fx. But before that, let's first compute the f, or the overall total of the frequency. So if we add 1 plus 2 plus 8 and plus 2 plus 9 and plus 6, it will be overall total of 28. So let's go back to our next column, which is fx times m. We can solve this by just simply multiplying our first interval frequency to class mark. So fx times m will be equal to 1, which is our first frequency, and multiply by our first class mark, which is 13. 1 times 13 will be 13, and then our second class interval frequency is 2, and we can multiply it into our second class mark, which is 18. 2 times 18 will be 36, and so on and so forth. Now after we get all the data of fx, we can now add it so we can have the overall total. If we add 13 plus 36 plus 84 plus 56 plus 297 and plus 228, we get 814. So let's move on to our next column, which is cumulative frequency. We can solve this by just simply adding all of our frequency data starting from the lowest class interval frequency, which is 1. So we just have to copy the first frequency there to get our first cumulative frequency, which is 1, and then for the second cumulative frequency, we can add 1 to our second frequency, which is 2. 1 plus 2 will be 3, and then 3 will be added to our third frequency, which is 8. 3 plus 8 will be 11. Then we're going to put 11 there. And then after that, 11 will be added to our port frequency, which is 2. And then 11 plus 2 will be 13. 13 will be add to our fifth frequency, which is 9. 13 plus 9 will be 22. Then 22 will be add to our last frequency, 6, which is 28. Now that we have completed the table, we can now solve the mean of our group data. Mean will be equal to the overall total of fx divided by n, which is the overall total of our frequency. Therefore, mean will be equal to 814 divided by 28, which is the overall total of our frequency. So 814 divided by 28 will be equal to 29.07. Our mean for our group data will be 29.07.